live, and I do not want to waste your time. So let me get this going. If you can't hear me, I'm going to type that in there. Okay. So if you can't hear me, let me know. Hopefully we should be good to go. So I think I've got everybody's up. You can see my screen. You should be able to see. Let's look Google page. That's all it's there. Okay, so our goal today is just to kind of learn how to go ahead and log on to Google Docs, Google Drive. I know you guys are going to have to start using them with some of the payroll stuff and some other things. So I thought that uh, you guys might want to just have some background on it, and plus it'll make your life easier. So hopefully we can. You'll see the positives of all of this. So today, I really just wanted to focus on, what your account is, how you log in, what the Google Drive looks like, what apps are out there that you can kind of play around with. Next time, we'll kind of really get into Google, probably Google Docs, unless they're Google Sheets, something like that. So, okay, so Google, you have a Google account. It is going to be almost like the regular Jeff Coed account you have now. Now, the beauty of us having our own Google accounts in Google Education is that with Google Education that it is more closed. It is more safe. You can share student information and not have to worry about FERPA laws and breaking them, because if you stay within this program, you're good. And you're not sharing staff information, you're not sharing student information outside of our system. With personal Google accounts, they're not as safeguarded. If you've ever noticed, if you do have a personal Google account and you've ever gone to your email, you've got ads that are about the same email, that like about whatever the email's about. Like if you had somebody wrote you an email about going to Hawaii, you're going to get ads about do you want to, like travel sites and discounts to go to Hawaii. It's because those other companies are actually reading through your emails. It's scary, isn't it? But with our district Google accounts, there is no third party reading through there. And so it's pretty secured, and it is closed off. So sharing things that have student information, sharing things that have payroll information, as that kind of stuff, it's in a closed setting, and there's no third party sharing. And so we're under those FERPA guidelines. FERPA is like the HIPAA for education, I guess. So we're still in those guidelines, and we're still good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Now I have Internet Explorer up. Internet Explorer is probably it's the most frustrating thing in the world. A lot of times I know some websites don't work on it, some websites do. If you're using Google, sometimes I will say it is better to go ahead and use Chrome. And Chrome is this, if you look on the bottom of my screen right here, there's that little circle. The kids call it the beach ball. And that is going to be your Google Chrome. I have Internet Explorer open because I'm logged into my Google account on Chrome, and I went ahead and opened it here. And I'll go ahead and I'm going to close it as soon as I show you how to log in. But if you use this, Chrome is going to be your better choice, just because it's all made to go together. So I went ahead and just opened this up, and I went to google.com, just www.google.com. And at the top of my page I have a blue thing that says sign in. And so that's where you sign in. You go and you click on it, and it says enter your email. Now, your Jefferson County Google account is a little bit different than that at jeffcoed.com. We couldn't use those. Too many people had signed up for private accounts using that, and so we had to use a separate domain. So it's going to be like my at jeffcoed.com is a Dykes at jeffcoed.com. Whatever yours is, you're still going to have that same prefix. It's the suffix that's different. So the at, instead of at Jeff Coed, it's going to be at JCBOE, which is Jefferson County Board of Education. Sometimes if you say it that way, it makes it a little bit easier to remember. My kids even say it that way. And then you go, it's .k12.al.us. If you have if you have kids or if you have friends in other districts, you notice that that's usually how the that K12.al.us is what most school districts have for their email address. So it's Jefferson County Board of Education.K12.al.us. I had a teacher tell me, I think she was kindergarten, first grade, that she taught her kids to remember it. K12 is the size of the school, AL is the state, US is the country, so it gets bigger as you go. So if that helps, that helps. So that is your account. And then the next part, when I ask for your password, I'll tell this no, I don't want you to remember anything. Your password is going to be the exact same password you use for iNow, the exact same password you use for Chalkable, the exact same password you use for your JeffCoed, jeffcoed.com email. Everything that you have, that same password is going to work here. The students, their password is their lunch number. They have that same at jcboe.k12.al.us. Their passwords are their lunch number no matter what. It doesn't change. But yours is going to be whatever your regular password is. So you put that in and then you click sign in, and it should take you to a page that looks like this. And as you notice, it has my face. If it's your first time, it's going to have like a little blue man. Just a little head and body right here. And I've got a couple of things set up. I'm going to close Internet Explorer and go to here. And so this is kind of what your homepage looks like. You have these little 9 squares right here, and that is your app menu. And when you click on that, it's going to show you the apps that you have. Yours might be in a little bit of a different order than mine because I have some extras from the administrative side, but you're still going to have this. You're going to have My Account. That's where you can set up your own safety stuff if you want to. That's a new thing. I haven't really played with it that much because it's only been out like a month. You have Google search. That is going to be, it took me back to right here. And the thing about it is if you're logged in and you're searching on Google, it's going to start, it's going to use an algorithm to start remembering what you're looking for. And so over a period of time, it's going to kind of already know. It's going to use that, that artificial intelligence to kind of know exactly where you're going to go with it. And which kind of sounds creepy, but it's kind of nice if you were constantly looking up, schools because you can't ever remember the address or something like that. It's going to start knowing what you're looking for. And the cool thing is if you click on this, if I click on that and I say allow, I can say, okay, Google. Well, if you say, okay, Google, it's going to start searching for what you say. So that is there always. And I think it's like once you say allow, it's every time I say, okay, Google, it starts picking it up because it didn't pick it up that time. But yeah, you can search by voice. You can search on here and it'll search for whatever you're looking for. So that is your Google search. You have Google Plus. Google Plus is a community-based social media that's out there. You have mail. There is actually a Gmail that goes with this. I'm going to go ahead and click it so you can see. Mine's been used a lot. I know people say, oh, no, not another email. Most people just use that for when they know when they have a Google Doc. It gets shared to that email. There's a way to forward those emails to your Outlook if you want to do that. You have a calendar. It has a fantastic calendar that you can share with other people. As you see, I have what I'm doing today on here, but I can share things with other people. It's really nice to have that shareable calendar. It's shared with a lot of websites. Our School Insights websites are supposed to be picking it up where we can start sharing with that as well. So it has a couple of little apps that kind of go with it that'll help you out there. And you can have multiple calendars and things like that. We also have docs, sheets, and slides. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. There's Google Sites that does websites. There's Google Groups. Google Groups is very cool because you can actually set up groups and do an email account with that one group. So if I went over here to my groups, I think I have some made up. If I had one that was my first period class, if you had one that were like I have Ms. Dyke's Awesome Parents, and I can share things. The thing is that when you set up a group, you have one email from that group. Like this first period class, whatever I signed up for that email. I mean, whatever I gave the email for that group when I first set it up, if it was first period at jcboe.k12.al.us, I can send out an email to first period at jcboe.k12.al.us, and it will send an email to everybody that's in that group, which is kind of cool because if you're one of those people that have to email, oh, I have to email all the math teachers, I have to email all the 6th grade teachers, I have to, those kind of things, you can set up those groups and you can have one email address for that. Once you start getting into Google Docs and you have to share your documents, you just share it to that one group, and that's kind of helpful as well. The other things we have in here, there's contacts, which is, you know, just like any other thing that you have where you can have a contact, set up contact groups, things like that. In there. YouTube, there's maps. The maps are really cool if you are having to give directions to somewhere. You can actually set up your own maps with the directions if you want to get to point A to point B. If you know that, you know, there's a ball game at a certain place and you're in charge of sending out directions to that or putting something on the website for that, you can go in here and click your maps and you can do your own map. And I click my maps. And I can actually set up, you know, I can make up my own map that's directions from one school to another. It's loading. Boom, boom. Let's say that I want, you know, I don't know. But if you're trying to go in from one place to another, you drop a pin in certain places. And I don't even know where I'm at. I just kind of clicked on places. And you can drop point 1, point 2, and you can actually get directions from those places, and it will save it, and then you can share that, which is kind of cool. And of course, it'll save whatever you've looked for lately as well. No, I just want to go to google.com. There you go. Other things they have on here that are available, there's news. You can kind of set up whatever news you want to. There's photos. You can save your photos to. There's Google Translate that'll translate websites. It'll translate, you know, anything that, so if somebody sends you like an email and it's not in English and you want to put it in there and ask them to translate it from Spanish or have it on detect language and send it to English, it'll translate those documents for you, which is pretty fantastic. It's not 100%. I wouldn't use it and then send it off to somebody, but it is very helpful. So those are kind of the apps that you guys have available. I'm going to go ahead and click Google Drive and open up your Google Drive. This is kind of the hub of everything. If you can get into your Google Drive, you are pretty good to go. You're pretty good to go because this is where it's going to save. And here's the way to remember this. Your Google Drive is just like a USB drive. You can save anything to it. It is unlimited space. That's kind of Google's big charity, is that they have their Google for Education. And in Google for Education, they actually have, it's actually free, and everybody that's in there has unlimited space. So if you have 1,000 folders on your drive, and I'm going to show you in a minute how to upload this, you can take those on in your My Documents, you can take them and upload here. It's a great backup. It's a great way to save things. If you're like me and you get home and you think, oh no, I saved that to my computer at work, and now I need to go in there and fix it because somebody sent me an email asking about it. If you save it to here, you can actually get to it, which is pretty fantastic. Especially if, you know, if you work from home on occasions, because that happens. So this is, it literally is a drive. You can save videos here. You can save anything you want to your drive. This is also kind of where you do your Google Doc, where you'll do Google Docs. If I scroll down, I got tons of, too many folders really. But if I scroll down, you can see I've got Google Docs, I've got Google Forms as well. And I'm going to kind of just give you an overview about what all those documents and forms and everything are. So I'm going to kind of start over here with your left side. The first button right here is New. So if I click on that, I can do a couple of things. I can say, okay, I want a new folder, and that's going to give me one of these folders over here. So if I just click New Folder, it's not really going to do anything. Today's date is 12th. So I can say that, and I can create it, and now I have this folder here that I can save stuff in. There's nothing really in there right now, but I can go and save things to there. I'm going to remove it, because if I don't, I'll forget it, and then I'll, all right, okay. So, so that you can add a folder to save things in just like you would on anywhere else. But you can also upload. So like I said, if you have tons of folders in your My Documents, if you have things that you want to back up, you know, I know a couple of years ago we had the S drive crash and everybody, it was pretty heartbreaking. I know it was for me. I lost a lot of stuff there. But the beauty of this is that it's saved to Google's cloud, and that is not just us. That's out in Google world. I always say if that goes down, it's a worldwide issue, not just a Jeff Coed issue. So, but I can take this and I can say, okay, you know what? I want everything that has been saved to my desktop. I'm going to say okay, and it's going to upload. And as you see over here, it's uploading. I have 100 documents on my desktop. That's kind of scary. So everything I have saved over here to my desktop is going to upload over here. And then as you see, here's that folder right there. And as it starts populating everything that's on there, as you see, it starts saving it all. And it is now backed up on here. Usually I start there as a place to save things, but if I have to download something, that's I usually just put it on my desktop and move it over if I need it. But it'll upload that entire folder. If there's just one file, I can just upload one file. If I want a file to upload and I want it to go into a folder, if I want to say, okay, I want to go into, well, we'll just use this desktop. I can say new, and I can upload a file, and it puts it into that folder. So if I went there, said, okay, I'm going to put this dude in there, and I can click open, and it's going to upload him into this folder as well. So you can do it that way. Other things, and you can create a new document, a new sheet, a new slide. You can actually, and then you Google Form, Google Drawings are going to be the ones that show up immediately when you click your new. I have a couple of things added to it where I clicked on Connect More Apps, and I have a couple of apps that are connected. But really, those are going to be your 5 things that are going to show up. You also have on this area a thing that says shared with me. And these are things that other people have created and shared with me. Like my son created this and how to make a Google Doc, and he shared it with me on here. So anything that's been shared to you, that's where it's found. So if somebody says, oh, I sent it to you, I shared it with you, I know it's in there, that's where you're going to find that document. You have a recent, you have Google Photos that's in there, and you have starred. You can star something. So if I went on here and I said, okay, I'm going to this untitled map that I have. Let's not do that one. Let's say I want to, let's do that. No, it's going to send me to a map, isn't it? I don't want to do that. I have no idea what this is. It's kind of scary, but if I'm in here, okay, so this was like a worksheet I was doing for somebody. I can click on that star right there, and it will star it, and that way I all my really important things will be starred, and when I click start, you'll see that it's right there. I didn't use that, so I can delete it. But so the things that are starred are going to show up. Another thing that's great in here is that you can share documents through here. If you ever try to share something through an email, sometimes the documents are too big. But I can share an entire folder. If I want to take this entire folder right here, I can click on it, and then I have my share options. See this little guy up here that has a plus sign, or I can right click, and it's going to give me a share option. And what that's going to do is I can either put an email address in, or I can go advanced. I'm going to click advanced so you can see everything that's there. So if I look at it, here's a link that I can share. So if I send somebody that link, everybody that gets that link can view this folder if I have it set up that way. Right now it says only specific people can access. If I send that link to anybody in the world, they can't see it. The only person that can see it is this guy right here, Shannon Davis. He can see it, but no one else can. But I can click and I can change that by clicking change right here. And I can say that I want this whole entire folder public on the web. That means anybody that's Googling, anybody that's looking for something that's called November Chromebooks, I'm going to show up in the Google search. I couldn't imagine ever doing that with anything, but if I wanted that to happen, it can happen. One way I do it a lot is I say on anyone with the link. There's no sign-in required, especially when I was a teacher in the classroom, when I would send information home to parents. Like our website, you probably know you can't like upload a document really well. But what I would do is I would type my document in Google Docs, and then I would just share within the link, and only they could just view it. Because I have it right here that says anyone can view. Now I can flip that to anyone can edit, but that means anybody that opens that link can change change it. And I don't want that to happen, so I have it with anyone can view. I can do it with anybody with Jefferson County Schools can find it. I can say anyone in Jefferson County Schools with the link. If I have something that has like a lot of students' names in there, especially if it has their student name and their number, usually this is how I would do it. That way they have to sign in. If you guys get a form that is asking, you go to use the form and it says you have to sign in to be able to access the form, that's kind of how it's set up. So you would have to log in. So for anybody to open, if I send everybody that link and I said, anybody with this link that's in Jefferson County can view it, they still have to be logged into their Google account to do it. So if those forms that you guys get won't let you view, it's because you're not logged in. And then of course I can turn it back off to only specific people. I'm gonna leave it like that. And the specific people, all I gotta do is put in my name here. So like if I said, okay, Kim, let's see, I'm gonna guess that this is yours. I can put your name in there, and I can put that you can view this folder, and I can say, okay, Lori, let's see, let's use probably LL, isn't it? There you go. So if I did that, who else is on there? Diana's in there. So if I say, I forget what I'm trying to remember, Diana. Is it just DW? There you go. So if I did that and I clicked on this, it would notify you through the Google account that you've got this, and you would be able to see it. You probably don't care what schools have what, but I'm going to go ahead and send it just so you know what it does. And so it would show up, and if you guys were in your Google account, I'll click that. If you guys are in your Google account, it's going to show up in that shared with me area. And you would see that entire folder. So that's kind of the sharing thing. That's kind of one of the great things about it, I think, is that you can you don't have to worry about uploading attachments, anything like that. You can just share this one document. A lot of people, I will email them to their Jeff Coed as well and say, hey, I just shared this with you. You have to look in your Google account to see it. All right, so the last thing are the apps that are in here that are so great. One is Google Docs. This is what Google Docs looks like. It looks like a basic word processor, and that's what we'll definitely focus on next time we have one of these. But one of the great things is that it saves it automatically. So if I change the name of this, if I called it webinar, if you notice it says saving, all changes saved in Drive. It saves it like automatically, which is fantastic. You never have to worry about, power goes out and you didn't save what you're working on or anything like that, because it's automatically saved to the Drive. If I look over here in my Drive, I'll scroll down, you're going to see it's already there. And it's already got I don't have anything typed in it, but it's already there and it's up to date and it stays up to date, which is fantastic. There's also the share option from inside of here. So if you are working on something with somebody, you can share this document. I can send this to the same people I just did, and I can say you can edit. And when I do that, that means every one of you guys, and I'll go ahead and send it so y'all can look at it if you want to. I can go ahead and I can send that to you, and you guys could actually open up that link and you could write in here just as much as I do. I mean, you're seeing the exact same thing I do, and you can write in there. You can do a comment over here. Whatever, I can put that in there, and that comment's there. And so like if you were working on working on a document with somebody, you have to type up something to go home and you want them to proofread it. This is a better way to proofread it because they can go in and they can either fix things or they can make comments on it, and you didn't have to, send them one document, they fix it, send you a document and you fix it, then you send them attachment, and going back and forth. There's no back and forth. It kind of skips all of that. You can print from here. All you got to do is print. I hear a lot of people say and you print straight from there. The beauty of it is that if I type this on here and I go to a school tomorrow and I need to print off whatever I typed up here, it's still in my Google Drive and I can type it and I can print it from wherever I'm at. So that's one of the beauty of it. There is a revision. Well, yeah, I'll show you that. People are always worried that somebody's going to delete their work if you have more than one person in there, and you can go on here and you can actually see what people wrote at what time. In case that ever happens, you can restore it back to where it was. There are things called add-ons that make it a little bit easier, and we'll talk about that when we have that webinar for sure. Your other options, you have Google Sheets. A lot of people tell me that there's formulas that don't work in Google Sheets that work in Excel. I've yet to find one. If you do find one, please tell me. They have these things called add-ons that sometimes will work, that I make a workaround for those things that don't work. It has great mail merge add-ons and stuff, but like I said, it pretty much does everything that's already. You can do the charts, you can do filters, you can do functions. I've yet to find things that don't work in here that work in Excel. So it does pretty much what Excel does. You have Google Slides. It's very similar to PowerPoint. The only thing we have found on here that PowerPoint does that this does not do is put music in the background if you want to do a slideshow, which is not really a thing that people do a lot. Anyway, and then of course you have Google Forms. Google Forms is where you can, I'm sure that you have gotten some kind of survey or some kind of form you needed to fill out. So if I have this on here, I'm going to call it webinar. Because that way I know to delete it later. I can do a question here. I know that that's not really what you're going to be asking, but it's a question. And I can give them choices on how to answer it. They can answer it with text and everybody typing whatever they want. I can say a paragraph text, which is for longer stuff, multiple choice, which is when you have multiple answers. One answer. Checkbox, if they could choose option 1 and option 3, I would do that. You can have a choose from list. That's a drop down box, just looks like this. You can do a scale, one of those 1 to 5, 1 to 10 scales. You can do a grid. Those are hard. That's when you got a column across. Rows down, columns across. As well, and you can do a time and date stamp. You can also add images and videos in here as well. When you do this, you can require that Jefferson County Schools log in to view this form. That's if it's something you just don't want any old Joe to go in and fill out. You can do it, or you can only get one answer. You can do it where it automatically gets their username so you know who filled it out, those type things. One of the cool things is that the responses to it go straight to a spreadsheet. So if you notice this, what is your favorite color is one of my questions, and all the answers would be in here. I'm going to show you one that I already have done. Try to find one that's not too. Let's do this. So they did a test on here, and as you see, I can see what everybody's answer was on here. So you would be able to do a chart, or take your information. It also has a thing on here that'll say, so summaries. So if you needed a quick summary of what people ask, if you were trying to get feedback from teachers or something, you can put that in there. But it pretty much puts it all in a spreadsheet, which is great. And then, of course, if you wanted to use your formulas with this information, you can do that as well. So it's a really great tool, because you can send out, a form and a questionnaire. excuse me, you can send out forms, questionnaires, and you can get all your information back. There's also Google Drawings, which is kind of basic. You can actually do drawings on there. This is where you could do a box. I don't know. Let me buy, stuff like that. You can actually do some drawings on there if you ever need to do that. One last thing I want to show you. I just uploaded a bunch of stuff, and I wonder if any of them is a Word document. Okay, so this is a Word document right here. If I double click on it, it is not a Google Doc, it is a Word document. So if I double click on this, it gives me this right here, which is, again, like I said, a Word document. I can't really do anything with it, but I can tell it to open with Google Docs. This is probably a bad example because it has charts, and, tables. I don't know how well it will do it, but I can open it with Google Docs. Just thinking about it. And yeah, see, it doesn't have the same formatting. I'd have to go in and set up my page. But it will let you bring it up in here. So if you ever had something in there that was Word and you should have it. If you ever had something that was in Word and you get home and you think, oh my gosh, I've got to, I think the font's different here. I think that's a lot of it. But anyway, usually it does it really well, but these little boxes are not being my friend. But if you just had something that was a document that was typed up and you had it saved in here as a Word document, you can double click on that and it will switch it from Word document to a Google Doc, and that way you can switch that over and work on it as well. So I think that's all the things I had. Hey. Do you have any questions? None? Thank you for coming. Yeah, if y'all have any questions, y'all can put it in the chat. Y'all can always email me. My email's adykes, ADYKES @jeffcoed. I don't mind answering. I don't mind coming by your school if I can help you. Things like that, especially when I know finance has those forms going out for you guys. I really want to be able to help as well. So, oh, you have a question, type in. I will wait. Okay, good. I'm glad it could be helpful. If there's anything y'all need, like I said, let me know. I will be glad to help. And that's all. Y'all have a good afternoon. I only went 2 minutes over. Hey, but y'all have a good afternoon. Like I said, anything, let me know.